Welcome back, cohorts, as we continue to explore the framework of universal design for learning. In order to delve deeper into the concept of UDL, let us first think about how diverse our classrooms are. Alan, what differences do you see among your students?
Well, Vida, I have students from different cultural and linguistic backgrounds.
What about in your classroom, Catherine?
Vida, I have a very diverse student body. I have English language learners, learners with physical, cognitive, and learning disabilities, as well as gifted and talented learners. According to the concepts of least restrictive environment and inclusion, I need to help all of these learners meet the Common Core standards in my general education classroom.
How do we find the time and the resources to meet the individual needs of all of our students and teach our students all they need to know to pass standardized tests?
Alan and Catherine, using a UDL framework for your process of teaching and learning is the best way to customize your curriculum to your learners' needs, and teach them what they need to know, understand, and be able to do to achieve success at their next level of learning at the same time. Let's review what research from the field of neuroscience has revealed about how the brain works regarding learning. Rose and Meyer tell us that there are three primary networks which, though different in structure and function, work closely together to affect learning. These three networks are the recognition networks, the strategic networks, and the affective networks. These three networks govern the what, how, and why of learning. The recognition networks govern learning through the senses and help us to recognize faces, smells, texture, musical genres, and flavors. The strategic networks govern how our learners strategize, perform tasks, and solve problems. And the affective networks govern the factors which motivate, encourage, and excite our students. A quote from Rose and Meyer explains that recognition networks help us to identify objects, such as coffee pots and cars, and strategic networks enable us to act on these objects. The quote continues to state that affective networks attach emotional significance to these objects and actions, influencing in a third way what we see and do. Understanding how these three groups of networks influence learning informs our pedagogy to the extent that we can now deliberately use instructional techniques, which will feed these networks and meet the needs of our learners. The Center for Applied Special Technology has provided principles to guide flexibility in the process of teaching and learning. The first principle is concerned with presenting learning using multiple means of representation. You can provide several examples and non-examples of the learning, highlight relevant text, present learning using multiple modalities, and draw on your students' prior knowledge. The second principle advises that we allow our students to show what they know, understand, and are able to do, in different ways. You can provide scaffolds to help your students master content, provide effective feedback so that students know if they are on the right track. And you can allow your students to present knowledge in the ways that best display their strengths, sensibilities, and intelligence. The third principle suggests that we pursue options that will keep our students motivated and engaged in the classroom. You can show movies in the classroom, involve music when introducing content, challenge their skill level, and reward students to encourage academic improvement. Alan and Catherine, technology offers excellent tools and resources for you to build flexibility into your curriculum.
In what way?
I use technology in the classroom already, but I'm not sure how effective it is. Would you provide us with some examples?
Certainly. When presenting new vocabulary words in your classroom, for example, there is a resource called Quizlet which allows you to create online flashcards. This technology allows you to adjust font sizes for learners with poor vision, enable the audio feature for your more auditory learners, and you can attach or upload pictures. In order to stimulate the strategic networks, ArmoredPenguin.com allows you to create word puzzles and games so that students can master content, strategize, and problem solve. These tools have the added bonus of allowing the students to engage with the computer, which may be a reward for achieving daily learning goals or just to support mastery. Finally, I like to use games to engage and motivate my students. There are games which help students learn and practice foreign languages using their Nintendo DS, for example. Technology is very strategic to the UDL framework as it provides the necessary supports to make curriculum accessible to all learners. Assistive technologies, such as keyboards, calculators, cameras, video recorders, and headphones help learners with impairments to be able to access learning.
These supports will also heighten my students' opportunity for success in an environment of inclusion.
That's right, Catherine. Alan, it is very important for you to work on learning profiles for your culturally and linguistically diverse student body.
I agree, Vida. This way I can find out who likes to learn and complete projects using computer technology, games, and simulations. If I know what my students' favorite foods, traditions, customs, and pastimes are, I can design activities that will motivate them to learn.
Universal design for learning has the potential to have great impact on students who are homeschooled. Students have the opportunity to have classes in different environments. This choice in learning context could be a strong motivational factor for various learners. My students have the option to take my classes in a face-to-face or online format. I support my students' strategic learning by allowing them the freedom and creativity to use multimedia and digital resources to research, synthesize, and produce learning. And I support my students' recognition learning by using technology to present learning in various ways. I can adjust font sizes, allow my more tactile learners to be hands-on with the learning, enable audio features, and enable my lower learners to learn at their own pace.